So we were talking about Wrexham, the stuff, and people are having the debate about ESPN and blah, blah, blah. But then this photo came up about the first game, Nashville played against NYCFC. And for our audio listeners, I'm showing a picture from World Soccer Talk. And the top of the image is showing the Apple broadcast, which is obviously in 106
beamed
in Park.
down from a space ship.
I mean, in a gorgeous studio in Harlem, and then the homies John Strong and Stu Holden just sitting in what looks like a janitor closet with the DoorDash.
DoorDash was holding them hostage while they were
Shout out DoorDash, but they get delivered food wherever they want.
They could have delivered the Coors Light. We should have worked with them. But look, and it's not. Look, this is obviously the comparison of what the broadcast was on Fox and what it was on Apple TV, and I mean, Apple TV looked incredible. The picture quality was incredible, and then also the picture quality on Fox was way beneath what it was on Apple TV. But it's what we've grown up with and what we're sort of used to. But so I don't point this just to like sort of make fun of anybody in particular, but it says something to, again, just this kind of stuff matters. The optics of it matter a little bit, and it's not to say that Fox never tried or anything, because it clearly isn't the case. But then they're not going to go all in for every single game. But this part of me feels like intentional. You know what I mean?
You think that they were like, oh, you guys are going to put a lot into this? We're going to do nothing. You don't think we could do worse? We could do worse.
Because in comparison, it looks so stark. I mean, it's not they.
And this game was on Fox, right? It wasn't even FS1. I think it was on Fox.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the games that they have packaged for are on Big Fox. So they're like, everyone gets them.
Yeah. I mean, they normally do that in studio at the desk, and it's like it looks like a newsroom sort of. It's not the fanciest thing in the world.
Rodolfo Landeros, Alexi Lalas talking about stuff.
It's been good. Yeah. But for this particular game and this particular decision to make it look this particular way is like, bro, they could have done just a tad more.
Or they couldn't have, which is the spoiler about this whole thing.
Yeah, it's like out of is it spite? I don't know what it is. But
listen, your ex and you're still going to be friends, but it's not the same. Mm-hmm. So I get that a little bit. Also, it's amazing because they're physically in person together, which means one of them traveled to be in that space. It's not like, oh, well, this is the best I could do at home. Like, I'll tape something up. Someone got on a plane to get to that 100%. Place, whether it was Stu or John.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was John, because John, I think, lives in Portland, I believe, and their studios, I believe.
Stu lives next to John Legend, so we assume he lives in LA.
That's right.
They're best friends.
They are good friends. Yeah. It's a thing I rarely bring up anytime I see him, but
Weird.
Should bring it up.
You should bring up to other people that you know Stu Holden, who knows John Legend. That's probably the move you need to make.
Yeah, this some of the people in American soccer are like more well connected than we know, than we realize or whatever. Like,
well, there's like the when I was in college, I broadcast my college teams, and they would call non-athletes muggles.
Okay.
So all the athletes,
shout out,
the high-level athletes, were like the wizards of the world, and I think pro soccer players enter into that space where they're like, oh, we're like sort of celebrities, and when we meet someone, we do like a head nod. Sure. We have the secret code, handshake, whatever. But they're like, not all of them are that famous on their own, but they're allowed to be in that.
Totally.
They get accepted to Hogwarts. They're just Hufflepuff.
Okay. There's something about, even when we interview a lot of some of the soccer players, and we'll say like, I usually ask them, like, have you ever met a comedian before? Because sometimes they'll be on the show and they have no idea what to expect. Sometimes they think like, am I supposed to be funny too? And all that stuff. I'm like, we're not putting that responsibility on you.
We're professionals. You guys don't have to be at our level.
But most of the time, almost anybody asks, whether it's a NWSL player, MLS player, they're like, no, I've literally never met a comedian. It's one of those things where like you would hope that the soccer world and entertainment world were overlapping a little bit more.
So one of the things with that is cities. Right. Comedians all pool in LA and New York.
Totally.
And so a lot of the players are big deals in, I'm sure there's SKC guys who are friends with, Pat Mahomes or whatever, right? Or current players, but it's not going to happen with comedians. Also, that might unfortunately be a knock on some comedians who they do know, but they don't know that they're comedians or they don't consider themselves, right? Like Julian Gressel may have been friends with people who are comedians and they don't know. So that might be harsh.
Yeah, well, because like SKC especially has like Paul Rudd, right? Paul Rudd is a big Sporting Kansas City fan.
He's a big KC, like everything.
Right. So yeah, I've seen him at games.
They have some celebrities, I think. It's hard for me to like, as a New Yorker, you watch the Knicks game and it's like, oh, there's a bunch of celebrities here. Then you go to like a Cavs game and they're like, look who's here, like the one person. They make a big deal about it. And it's normally an athlete from one of the other sports in the city. So I think the celebrity status.
In Cleveland, it's like the front row is just like, the head of the, Brooks Construction Company.
Allstate's most closest
employee of the month or something.
Let's give a cardboard cutout of LeBron courtside.
Probably. Also, no disrespect to people who live in cities that aren't New York.
Complete disrespect.
But some disrespect.
I mean, well, doing comedy in them,
especially LA,
doing comedy in them can be a little challenging sometimes. So that's all I'll say.
What's your low key city that's like not a big city that has been good for you for comedy?
Oh man, what's a good city that I really, really enjoyed? Atlanta. I mean, it's not. I guess
that's a
not
big
small.
city.
It's a big city.
Yeah. But like people laugh. Is that what you mean by good city?
They laugh and they're also like on board. With, like I've done shows in like Maryland or like Virginia
where they're like,
and it's like, all right, it's like, well, where the local comic that's like, man, buried on the street, and the people are literally losing their minds, and then you talk to them about anything else, and they're like, no, I don't get it. What's this yank talking about?
Do a joke about the bar on Main Street, otherwise we don't want it. Yeah.
So those are not fun.
You got to have willing laughers. You have to have willing participants.
Totally. So, and there are certain cities that like, or communities that like foster good, like just comedy, like who sort of just get comedy. Like Vermont has a really great comedy club, and it's just a community of people that just love comedy and stuff like that. There's certain spots. So yeah,
and I assume all of the comedy in Vermont is organic.
Okay, it's sticky because it has maple syrup coming out.
Shout out Vermont Green, by the way. I was gonna wear my Vermont Green jersey. My friends are on that team. I'm stoked. Year 2 is coming.
The kids look great.